Hi, welcome. Welcome to week number 1 of the Healthy Brain Program. So tonight, I'm going to cover the brain. We need to know why it's so important that it needs to be healthy. And as I've talked about before, whatever you do, whether it's for blood sugar control, if you take active, healthy measures to improve your blood sugar, your cholesterol, your heart health, your lung health, it will impact your brain. But if you also focus on your brain, your other body systems will naturally benefit as well. So tonight I'm going to cover the brain, but as people are starting to log in, hello Mona, welcome. Missed you today, wished I could have gone fishing with you. As always, I need to have my disclaimer, My services are not intended to replace medical or psychotherapy treatment. Always consider what I do to be complementary tools, advice, information to use with your own professional medical or psychotherapy services. I am, especially in cases of, real illness or mental issues, I need to be an adjunct, something that you add with the help of professional services. So today is Memorial Day, and thank you for joining me. I know that so many people are busy and probably barbecuing today, and so this will be available again on my Heather Sanchez Hypnotherapy Facebook page, as well as I actually have my YouTube channel up, Heather Sanchez Hypnotherapy, and I will post these videos there. I figured it out. I'm so excited. So today's Memorial Day, though, and it's a day to remember the people who died while serving in the country's armed forces. A day to honor those who fought and paid the ultimate price to protect us and our way of life. So today I am filled with gratitude and respect. I'd like to honor them. Again, they paid the ultimate price to protect us, but our way of life. So if you will, just take a moment and honor them here today. And for me, along with this wonderful weekend, this holiday allowed me time to spend with family and friends. I got to meet Markel and Brad's new puppy, Gizmo, and to see my old boy Duke. Love him so much. He's such a great dog. Had a great time. But I also had time to reflect on who is so important in my life and why they matter so much to me. But while I did that, I also figured out that rarely do we take time to think about why we matter to them. How often do we think about that? We usually are thinking about why they matter to us and what our life would be like without them. But take a moment. Reflect on why you matter to them. So as I reflected with gratitude and love on the amazing weekend, and as I wrote the information I'm sharing with you tonight, I thought that if we, each of us, would just think about how important we are to others and how they would be affected with the loss of our life, but even how they would be affected with the loss of our mental capabilities. I think we would all just be a little bit more careful about our own health. And so as I spent time with loved ones who are suffering the effects of dementia, I was even more determined to make changes in my life so that I can have many more wonderful weekends like we did this weekend. So that I can have way more, so much more, so many, wonderful life experiences, the kind that put life into my life. And later, as I wrote that our own health journey can sometimes motivate those around us, I thought of someone very important in my life, someone I hope begins this same journey of health. For this is someone I want to grow old with, someone I want to share all of these life experiences with, someone who puts meaning into my own life. So today the guided relaxation will be on who matters in our lives and then how we matter to them. So I hope you're able to join me for the guided relaxation. But let's get started. So tonight, much of the information about the brain comes from Dr. Daniel Amen, who many call the brain doctor. I know I do. And I got a lot of tonight's information from his book, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. And I highly suggest it. It's an easy read, lots of useful information about diet and exercise, how to protect your brain. And he has, in the book, an interesting thing, he has lots and lots of brain images from patients who are, having a variety of brain illnesses and injuries. And the brain images really bring it home as to how what we do on a daily basis, and even more importantly, what we don't do for our health affect our brain health. So Mona, if you can hit the like button and let me know that you can hear me. Again, I don't know that we're going to have a lot of joiners today since it's Memorial Day, but I wanted to stay on track. Let me know, though, that you can hear me and we're still connected. So, the brain is an integrated, whole symphony of parts that work together to create and sustain life. Welcome, Troy, and thank you, Mona. The brain is an integrated whole, a symphony of parts that work together to create and sustain life. That's why it's so important that we have this brain health. So important that our body is healthy as well as our brain. And why is the brain so important? Well, it's involved in everything you do and everything you are. How you think, how you feel, how you act, and how well you get along with other people are all impacted by your brain. When your brain works right, you work right. But when your brain is in trouble, you're much more likely to have trouble in your life. I'd like to say that again. When your brain works right, you work right. But when your brain is troubled, you are much more likely to have trouble in your life. And that can be, right, in your relationships, in your health, your career, in your finances. If you have a troubled brain, you're much more likely to have trouble in your life. So a healthy brain, thank you, a healthy brain, right, means that you're far more likely to be happier, healthier, wealthier, and more successful. But an unhealthy brain really impacts you, and you're far more likely to be more depressed, sadder, likely to be ill, right? Ill health, poor, and less successful. So this is important. Your brain is the most energy-hungry organ that you have. Your brain requires the most energy. It is estimated that your brain has 100 billion cells, and each cell is connected to other cells by up to 10,000 individual connections. It's been estimated that you have more connections in your brain than there are stars in the universe. So estimated, right? 100 billion cells. Each cell is connected to other cells by up to 10,000 individual connections. And it's been estimated that you have more connections in your brain than there are stars in the universe. So your brain is only about 2% of your body's weight, about 3 pounds. But it uses 20 to 30% of the calories you consume and 20% of your body's blood flow. So it's only 2% of your body's weight, but it uses 20 to 30% of the calories you consume and 20% of your body's blood flow, which makes your brain the most metabolically active real estate in your body. It's actually really expensive real estate. 2% uses 20 to 30% of all calories consumed. It's important to understand this because any form of oxygen deprivation can damage your brain, whether that comes from sleep apnea or, a water accident, a stroke, whatever that is. Any kind of oxygen deprivation can damage your brain. So your brain is the consistency of soft butter, and it's housed in a really hard skull, right? But inside the skull, there are multiple sharp, bony ridges, little cavities with bony, sharp ridges, and it's easily injured. So jarring motions and head injuries can cause the brain to slam into the hard interior of the skull, causing brain injuries. Even minor injuries, such as from playing as a kid and hitting your head, right? My children fell a lot, especially Zach. I hope you're watching. But also to the more consistent and harder injuries, such as sustained in sports, right? Think football, soccer, any of those hard, right? Baseball, even if you get hit in the noggin. These can affect your brain health for your entire life. And I'll finish with a concept of brain health reserves. And this will be similar to your limited bank of time concept, right? And it matters. It matters very much, right? We all know that we have a limited amount of time in our bank of time. And what we spend it on matters. But the same thing is true of your brain health reserves. So how much you have matters. So many things can hurt the brain. We know that drugs and alcohol definitely do. Infections, environmental toxins, traumatic head injuries, all affect the brain. But also obesity, which I suffered from. Sleep apnea, which I suffered from, especially when I was heavy. High blood pressure, which I suffered from. But even high normal blood pressure, meaning that if you're on the upper end of normal, can still affect your brain. Diabetes and prediabetes, which I suffered from. And even the high normal blood sugar levels. So again, if you're on the high end of normal, that can still affect your brain. Many medications affect our brain, especially sleeping pills. That's a bad one, right? We'll talk a little bit about sleep as we go through this program. The standard American diet, which is many times called SAD, right? The SAD diet. The standard American diet, which is filled with processed foods, pesticides, sugars, and artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, other artificial ingredients. Unbalanced hormone levels, which can definitely affect you. Chronic stress. Right? Stress is related to about 90% of all illnesses. Negative thinking. We talked about this so many times. Negative thinking creates negative chemicals, right? The kind that make you not feel so good. So negative thinking makes your subconscious mind think that it's in stress, right? In danger, and you go into fight or flight. You produce those chemicals. The opposite of that is positive thinking, gratitude, love, right? Optimism. That produces feel-good chemicals and healthy chemicals. So negative thinking can affect your brain, absolutely. But even spending time with unhealthy people. So again, this weekend, loved ones, right? Going through the litany of, oh, what is so wrong, right? I don't feel good. This hurts, that hurts. It sucks to get old, right? The worst one, right? Because that sets up, right, a negative self-limiting belief. And remember, if you believe that aging sucks and you're ultimately going to end up like that, right, then the subconscious works to bring that belief to be true for you. Change your belief. It is not true. And we're going to talk about that later. Brain aging is optional. So many things help the brain. Learning new things, that neuroplasticity, great nutrition, so important, so important. Coordination exercises, right? They challenge your brain. They keep you thinking. Right? Walking on the treadmill is really great for your body, but not so much for your brain unless you add another activity to it. Meditation, loving relationships. Certain nutrients such as B6, B12, vitamin D, and omega-3 fatty acids. So we need to know, as we're going through these 12 weeks, that certain systems in the brain tend to do specific things, and problems in these systems tend to cause problems in our life, right? And they need to have targeted treatments. So these are the main brain centers, right? I told you it was a symphony of integrated parts. So the limbic or emotional brain, which is also what I call the subconscious, the primitive brain, the lizard brain, controls your mood and bonding. So if you have troubles with those in those areas, you may have troubles in your limbic or emotional brain. The basal ganglia is where motivation, pleasure, and also anxiety stem from. The prefrontal cortex, right, the thinking brain, the analytical brain, is your CEO. It is the CEO. It is your focus, your forethought, and your judgment. So if you have judgment issues, you may have, right, some issues in that prefrontal cortex. The anterior cingulate gyrus detects errors and helps shift attention. So this would be an area that I would tell you that if you get caught in that negative loop, right? Woe is me, everything goes bad for me, I'm so horrible, right? Shifting attention, right? Not getting so caught in that loop that you can't get out of it. So this would be an area, the anterior cingulate gyrus. And then the temporal lobes, which are responsible for memory, learning, and mood stability. So if we have memory issues, it's here. So we'll look at these more in depth as we continue over the next 12 weeks. It's also important to note that many psychiatric illnesses are not single or simple disorders in the brain. Each one has multiple types that require unique treatments. Thank you. And one treatment will never work for everyone. And that is true in everything that I teach, whether it's, how to regain your healthy sleep patterns, how to lose weight, how to be motivated to exercise, how to be happier, right? I love to coach people in being happy. One treatment will never work for everyone, right? It has to be unique. So again, psychiatric illnesses, most of them, are not single or simple. So depression, for instance, is actually a cluster of symptoms, not a disease. It's a cluster of symptoms. It has too many causes, and each one requires its own treatment, right? So depression steals precious time away from so many, from our bank of time. But the same is true of anxiety, which affects millions of people and disrupts their lives, right? It's not a simple, single, right, diagnosis. It is a cluster of symptoms, right? And it could come from many different places, including diet and exercise and stress, and then issues with our brain. In this book, right, Dr. Amen has also determined that there are 7 types of anxiety and depression, right? He kind of categorizes them. He has a book on treating ADD and ADHD. There are 7 different types of ADD, and each one requires different treatment protocols. 6 different types of addicts. 5 types of overeaters. So if you're interested in this, I would suggest you visit his website. He has many books and he has a wonderful website, and his wife is a nutrition expert. And the website's address is www.amenclinics.com. But here's where it gets exciting for me. Brain aging is optional. Brain aging is optional. Work to boost your brain's reserve. We talked about that reserve, like that bank of time. So on average, we lose about 85,000 neurons a day. Little kids, as we know, right, have very active brains, whereas older people have significantly less brain activity. Little kids are learning. They're learning how to be an adult, right? They're learning how to read. They're learning how to write, how to do math, right? They are learning. Remember, I said, and I talked about how the subconscious mind likes to work on autopilot. It absolutely wants to be on autopilot to reserve energy, right? Why? Because it's the biggest consumer of energy. So if it can do everything that it needs to on autopilot, such as driving, cooking, turning on the channel, watching the same station day after day, that's why older people typically have less activity, brain activity. They're on autopilot. They're not learning. They're losing rather than gaining in their brain reserve. So while our skin withers as we age, the same process typically happens in the brain. With age, the cortex or surface of the brain typically gets less and less active. So your day-to-day behavior is either accelerating this process or it's decelerating this process. I want to say that again. Your day-to-day behavior is either accelerating this process or decelerating it. So brain aging is optional if you diligently use the right strategies. I want you to know this is right where I want to be. I want it to be, right, optional, and I diligently want to use the right strategies. Nutrition, exercise, stress reduction, all of that. So this is where your brain reserve comes in. Right? This is how you age well. This is how you become, right, one of those centurions who is still active. I want you to know that today as I was going through this and I thought about, reaching 100 and still being, in my right mind. That's what we always say, right? In my right mind, or still active. I thought about one of the retirees from the Rural Electric who was still skiing at age 100. He wanted to do that, and he did. He did, and he was so healthy and so pleasurable to speak to. He had a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of stories, and he was active. He ate well. He walked. He exercised every day, and he was skiing at 100, right? That's where I want to be. That's where I want to be, and it's not just all your genes. I want you to know that it's not all your genes, and that's why we'll talk about, right, the telomeres, which is our gene expression, and epigenetics later in the program. It's important. It's important. You are born with a certain set, but you absolutely can change so much and positively affect your outcome. So the brain reserve. Think of your brain reserve similar to your limited bank of time. But instead of no deposits to your bank of time, remember you have what you have, and you want to make sure you spend them well. You can make positive and lasting impacts to your brain reserve. So the brain reserve is the extra cushion of brain function you have to help you deal with whatever stresses come your way, whatever challenges come your way. You use your brain reserve. It's that brain function, and you have a cushion. So the more reserve you have, the more resilient you are, and the less impact aging has on your life. Let me say that again. The more reserve you have, the more resilient you are, and the less impact aging has on your life. That's where I want to be. So depending on the circumstances of your gestation, you are born with a brain reserve. Right? So we don't have any control over that and can't change it. But we come into life with a different, right, level than anyone else. For some people it's higher, some it's lower, depending on, right, their birth. But the rest of your life, and this is where you come in, the rest of your life you're either increasing or decreasing your reserves. So for example, as you were growing up, right, if you fell down a flight of stairs as a toddler and hit your head, you decreased your reserve. Funny, that happened to me. If you started smoking marijuana or drinking alcohol as a teenager, you decreased your reserve even more. Funny, happened to me. If you play tackle football or soccer where you hit the ball with your head, you decrease your reserve even further. Yeah, this one's okay. I don't have that one. So again, think about the things, right? As you were growing up, you decreased your reserve. Hopefully, right, I was born with a really big reserve and I can build on that. Great thing is you can make deposits, and that's where we're going to focus these next 12 weeks. So you can change your brain and change your life. It's the basis of his book, Dr. Amen's book, title of the same name, Change Your Brain, Change Your Life. You are not stuck with the brain that you have at this moment. You can make it better. There's smart ways to enhance, treat, and optimize the brain. You can add to your brain reserve, and this is how you do it. A healthy diet, healthy exercise, good supplementation, proper medication, and again, reduction of medications you don't need. Psychotherapy, new learning, my favorite, hypnotherapy, neurofeedback, biofeedback, right? All of these help you add to your brain reserve. Who you spend time with matters. It absolutely does. We know that. Have you ever been surrounded by negative people? How do you keep your positivity, right? If you're surrounded by positive people, you tend to be more positive. If you're surrounded by healthy people who are very active, right, you're going to go along with it, right? Both healthy and unhealthy habits are contagious. I want you to hear that. Both healthy and unhealthy habits are contagious. We influence each other. We always have, right? We are social beings. We influence each other for both good and bad. Right, so use this as a powerful motivator, especially if you're a parent of small children, right? You can help them, thank you. You can help them have a healthy brain reserve, right? Powerful motivator to be a good role model and a positive influence on the people you love. As I spoke before, I have somebody special in my life I want to grow old with, right? I want to be a positive influence on this person's life. They matter to me. We know that when health-conscious friends improve their own health, right, the friend's health improves also. That's true for me. I have some really great friends. Let this motivate you to make changes now, right? It's never too late, but get started now. The more time you have left, right, to add to that reserve, the better you will age. So I mentioned this special person in my life, and I hope that they take steps to improve their own health, because our lives are intertwined, and both of us and our states of health affect each other. So I ask you now, who matters in your life? Who matters in your life? And then who do you matter to, right? Who do you matter to? Because you are intertwined. And your health matters. It does, especially your brain health. So epigenetics, there's a Dr. Bruce Lipton, who is the author of The Biology of Belief. It's a treasure trove of information that I'll pass along throughout these 12 weeks also. But if you want to get started early, check out his book, The Biology of Belief, or his YouTube videos. Because in the last 20 years or so, we have discovered that our habits and emotions can impact our biology so deeply that it causes changes in the genes that are transmitted to the next several generations. It's an epigenetic marker that tells your genes to switch on or off, or to express loudly or softly. And it's through epigenetics that immediate environmental factors like diet, stress, toxins, and prenatal nutrition can affect the genes that are passed on to your offspring and beyond. So Dr. Lipton, I actually got to see him in a seminar. He talks about how epigenetics, right, the biology, is important. So for instance, in animals, evolution, let's say that it's an animal that finds itself in an environment that is becoming colder and colder and colder. Right? The sensation of cold will turn on genes that will affect the proteins that grow more hair. Opposite is also true. Animal with a thick coat finds itself in a hot environment. The feeling, right, of the distress of the heat will change the gene expression. It absolutely can happen with us in positive beliefs and negative beliefs. That's why it's so important. And we have said, right, I have a family lineage, I guess, right, or tradition, that the women in my mom's family hold grudges, right? We're known for holding grudges. And I've spoken before that holding a grudge keeps you stuck in the triangle. You can't get out. You can't move forward if you carry the grudge with you. But there's also a temper on my husband's side of the family, right? And the temper is hot and like a volcano and explosive. And many in our family seem to have that trait, right? That's epigenetics. It's a biology of belief. And it does matter, right? Because if you're told over and over and over again as a child, oh, we hold grudges, that's what we do, then you hold the grudge and you hold the negativity. And guess what? It expresses in your body as stress. Let's say that you're told that you have that temper, that hot temper, that volcanic temper. And every time you express your anger, you're told that it's that trait. Then you will do that more often because that's what you believe to be true, right? That is passed on somehow, right? It's just passed on in those genes. And then you have that, right? And you don't think you can control it, right? Because you're told we can't, right? It explodes. We just explode with anger. Well, then that's what happens. That's the biology of belief. It absolutely will affect your genes, right? So if you have any of those, right? If you have any of those family legacies, stop them now. They're not true. You can make them untrue. They may have been true in the past, but you don't have to keep them. You do not have to keep them, right? You can change them. And it's important to change now because, right, it affects the generations to come. And you can only affect it so much. You need to affect it, your children need to affect it, and their children need to affect it to completely affect it for the positive, right? The healthy. So clearly what you do now matters more. Matters more now than what you did in the past. I know, Mona, you know exactly which anger I was talking about, right? Which family legacy. And Troy, I bet you do as well. All right, so clearly what you do now matters more than what you did in the past because it's only now that you can change. So whether you treated your body and brain with care or maybe you didn't, there's no time to waste, right? Make healthy changes now. So here's some of the things we'll cover in the next 12 weeks, but these are things you can get on right now. Clean out your kitchen, just clear it out. Remove all forms of refined processed carbohydrates. Get rid of the processed foods, right? Anything with white flour, white rice, corn products, especially corn syrup, all sources of wheat and gluten, industrial grade emulsifiers such as polysorbate 80, right? That's a artificial ingredient. Industrial and processed meats and cheeses, all concentrated sweeteners, any forms of sugar, and there's a bunch. Commercial cooking oils, right? They're not good for you. Switch to the healthy, cold-pressed oils such as olive oil, right? Avocado oil. I use a lot of olive oil because the other oils seem to be a little bit really expensive. Synthetic sweeteners like aspartame, saccharin, sucralose, and the sulfame K. I think that one's NutraSweet. And beverages such as fruit juice, right? It's too high in sugar, right? If you ate 5 oranges, right, you'd be sick. There's fiber, there's the water content, right, and a little bit of sugar. But a glass of orange juice, right, will spike your sugar right away, and you don't get all the pulp, right, all the fiber. So get rid of the fruit juices, the sodas, even commercial fruit smoothies. If you look at the contents of that, there's a lot of sugar in those. But do stock up on good oils and fats, especially things like extra virgin olive oil. Even grass-fed butter, right, is good for you. Use it sparingly, right? It's expensive again, so I use it on my vegetables. I want to make sure it's something I taste, right? Avocado oil, coconut oil, lots of coconut oil, coconut milk. High quality proteins, make sure they're high quality, such as grass-fed beef and free-range poultry, right? Bison and elk, we actually have that here. Whole eggs, wild salmon, sardines, right? The smaller fish, the non-predatory fish, shellfish, mollusks, shrimp, crab, lobster, all of those I love. Oysters are great for you. They really are. Nuts and seeds, non-starchy vegetables, low-sugar fruits such as blueberries and apples, beneficial herbs and seasonings and condiments, so things like cilantro and parsley and red chili, right? Red chili is good for you. Dark chocolate, at least 80% cocoa content, but higher is better. A little bit goes a long way. I'm not a chocolate lover, but for sweets, a tiny little square will go a very long way. And then beverages such as pure or filtered water. My water is really good. Coffee, tea, unsweetened milks such as almond milk, flax milk, coconut milk, and cashew milk. There's a huge difference in the sweetened and the unsweetened, right? It doubles the calories, so just go with the unsweetened. You don't need the sugar. You don't want the sugar. And then you can eat in moderation starchy root vegetables, non-gluten contained, unprocessed grains, some dairy, such as heavy cream, hard cheeses, the butter, right? But make sure it's grass-fed, full fat, and antibiotic and hormone-free. You don't need the antibiotics and the hormone in your milk products. If you can have the yogurt and it doesn't bother you, that would be a good source of the dairy. Whole sweet fruits, right? In limitation, these are the moderation. Legumes and some sweeteners such as stevia or monk fruit. Then exercise. And again, as I mentioned, coordination exercises are great for brain growth. They add to your brain reserves. Strength training, aerobics, flexibility and balance exercises such as yoga, tai chi, qigong. Walking is still one of the best, especially if walking in nature. And if you walk with friends, it adds way more benefits, right? Sleep 7 to 8 hours each night. Sleep is highly important, and recent studies suggest that the average adult is highly sleep deprived, causing all kinds of health issues. And we'll go into sleep as one whole section of this program. Lose weight. Thank you. If you need to lose weight, lose weight. Stop smoking. Stop or severely limit substance use, such as alcohol and recreational drugs. Decrease your stress. Meditate, pray, use hypnotherapy. That would be my favorite. Mindfulness. Mindfulness practice is wonderful. Deep breathing, just unwinding, music. Increase your social connections, friends and families. Get together more often. Talk on the phone, right? Volunteer. Reconnect to your spiritual self. Whatever that is for you, reconnect to your spiritual self. We are spiritual beings. We are connected beings. We want connections. We want to be connected to others, connected to ourselves, and connected to our higher power. We need that. Learn something new. I've talked about this a lot. Learn something new. Neuroplasticity. Stay mentally active, right? Reading. Take dance classes. Take academic classes. Do challenging work. Do challenging hobbies. Remember, I mentioned that older people tend to be less mentally active. They get stuck in a rut, they get stuck in a routine, they get stuck in their habits. You have to change it up. You have to do something different outside your box, right? To create some new neural connections. Do exciting activities that give you a rush. So I don't know that the brain doctor, right, would suggest jumping out of an airplane, but I think that would give you a rush. Or doing whitewater rafting. I would like to do that, right? These experiences, right, that absolutely thrill you. Even a roller coaster, right? That's fun. It's very thrilling. Don't know if it's really healthy for your brain inside. I think it's a little jarring, but think of those types of things, right? Doing something new, things that give you a rush. And then we'll cover more of what to do in later sessions, but this is just a quick start. It's a quick guide, right, to get you to choose some healthy activities to incorporate. So of that list, right, or of your own, when we go into the guided relaxation, I'll ask you to choose something to do, right? And that's what we're going to focus on. One thing, just choose it to do. And next week, we're going to cover some of the diseases that affect our brain health and how they develop and what we can do to prevent or slow down the process. So things such as dementia, stroke, Parkinson's, ALS, and others. But then, right, after that, we need to know what our brain is. We need to know what can affect it. And then we're going to move into the positive, right? We're going to focus on what we can do. That's more positive. Knowing what you can do to prevent or slow down the progress. So if you're ready, I want to finish with a guided relaxation. So only do this if it's safe for you to do so. And if not, you want to catch it later. It's a really good relaxation, guided relaxation. Catch it on my Facebook page or also on my YouTube channel. And I will send out the link for that. So for now, get comfortable, settle in. And when you're ready, close your eyes and take a deep breath in. Breathing in to a count of 4 and out to a count of 5. And again, one more time, a nice deep breath in to a count of 4. And out to a count of 5. And one more time, when you're ready, into a count of 4. And out to a count of 5. Now imagine a beautiful beam of light shining down on you from above, and this light is loving and healing. This light is divine. And it pours over you, just pouring over you in peace and comfort and relaxation. And the light starts at the top of your head and moves all the way down with every breath. The relaxation just moves down, moving down into your face, down into your neck, down into your shoulders. This loving, healing, divine light brings peace and comfort and relaxation, and it continues moving down into your arms, all the way to your hands and your fingers. And this light just pours over you, pouring over you, bringing peace and comfort and relaxation. And it moves down into your chest, down into your abdomen, relaxing these muscles so much that your breathing is easier. Your breathing is easier as the muscles relax. And it moves down through your back, and you take your time here, these muscles that carry you throughout the day. And the relaxation just moves down with every breath. More peace, more comfort, and more relaxation. And it continues and moves down into your legs, into your knees, down into your calf muscles, all the way to your ankles, your feet, and your toes. And the light just continues to pour over you from the top of your head to the tips of your fingers, all the way to the tips of your toes. And this light is loving, this light is healing and divine. And it surrounds you completely, surrounding you in peace and comfort and relaxation. And you can breathe in the light, breathe it in. Breathe it into your heart, let it pour into your beautiful, open heart. And the light fills you, fills your mind as all thoughts slip away, replaced with the loving, healing, divine light, replaced with the light with every breath. And the light fills your chest and abdomen, filling you to the core. And you're filled with light and surrounded completely. And you bring the light with you as you make your way to a staircase with 10 steps leading down. Make your way there now. Stepping down 10, going deeper and deeper within. 9, every step down takes you deeper, deeper and deeper into relaxation. 8, you're surrounded by light as you step down. 7, filled completely with light, feeling lighter and lighter as you continue to step down. 6, every step down takes you deeper within. 5, making your way, stepping down, feeling lighter and lighter, more and more relaxed as you step down. 4, almost there. Stepping down. 3, and 2, and one more step. 1, as you step out onto a well-worn path. The walking is easy and gentle. You look down at your feet and you notice if you have shoes or if you're barefoot. You look around. You see nature all around you, so tranquil and serene. And it may be somewhere that you've been before or someplace completely new. Let your mind choose for you, but make it beautiful. Make the colors vibrant, the air crisp and clean as it enters your nose when you take a deep breath. Taking a deep breath now, feeling the air crisp and clean. And the sun is bright and it warms your skin and is so welcome here. And there are flowers and trees and maybe a babbling brook nearby. Whatever your mind chooses, just look around and know that you're surrounded by this divine place, this inner sacred place of healing. And take your time, continue on the path, and somewhere in your space is a bench. Make your way to this bench now. Sit down, settle in. And it is here that you will reflect. Reflect on who is important in your life, because they matter. They matter so much to you. You see them, you know them, you feel them, they're all around. They're in your thoughts, they're in your heart. Who is important in your life because they matter. They matter to you so much. And it is because of them that now you realize who you are important to, because you matter to them. Think about this now. You matter to them. Who are you important to? Because you matter. You matter to them. These people who care about you so much, these people who depend on you for so many things, you matter. You matter to them. Who is important to you? Realizing how important you are to them. We are social beings, connected beings. They matter. You matter. And you are better for you. And you are better for them when you are healthy. Healthy in body, mind, and spirit. Think about this for a moment. You are better for you and better for them. When you are healthy, healthy in body, healthy in mind, healthy in spirit. Think about this for a moment. Where would you be? Where would they be right now if you didn't have your physical health? Think about this for a moment. Where would you be? Where would they be right now if you didn't have your physical health? Good, good. Now think about this for a moment. Where would you be? Where would they be right now if you didn't have your brain health, if you weren't healthy in your mind? Where would you be? Where would they be right now if you didn't have your brain health, if you weren't healthy in your mind? Think about this now. Good. Take a deep breath in. Exhale fully and think about this for a moment. Where would you be? Where would they be right now if you didn't have your emotional and spiritual health? Think about that. Where would you be and where would they be right now if you didn't have your emotional and spiritual health? Think about this. Yes. But you can be healthy. Absolutely. You can be healthy in body, mind, and spirit. You can. And you want to be. You really want to be healthy in body, mind, and spirit. You do. You really do. And you take steps. You take steps today to be healthy. Really healthy. In body, mind, and spirit. You commit to doing one thing today that will make a difference in your health. It can be something you choose for your brain health, your physical health. It can even be something you choose for your emotional or spiritual health. Think of this one thing now This one thing you want to do for your health. This one thing you want to commit to today for your health. And do this now. Good. Now take a deep breath in and exhale fully. And as you do so, imagine, sense, and feel that you are doing this one thing you chose right now in your imagination. And use all of your senses to make the experience real. See yourself doing this thing. This one thing that will make a healthy change in your life. See yourself doing this. See yourself doing this one thing that will make a healthy change in your life. Now, what would it feel like? Feel it in your body. Imagine the physical sensations of doing this one thing. What would it feel like in your body to be doing this one thing? Really feel it. And feel it in your emotions. Connect to how wonderful you will feel when you complete this one thing. How you will feel knowing you're making a positive change. Feeling proud, accomplished, right? Successful, or just committed to you. A positive change for you, for your health in your body, mind, and spirit. Really connect to these emotions. Make them real. Make them positive emotions, optimistic, grateful, loving, excited, right? Whatever it is for you, make it real and make it positive. Good. Now take a deep breath in. Remember this exercise. See yourself doing this one healthy thing. Commit to doing it today. Commit it in your heart, right? Your heart. Commit in your heart to do this one thing that will make a healthy difference in your life. This one thing that will ensure that you are doing everything you can for you, but for them also. The ones who matter so much to you, commit in your heart now. Commit this in your heart now for you, but for them also. Those who matter so much to you. They matter to you and you matter to them. We are connected beings, connected to each other, connected to ourselves, and connected to our higher authority, right? Our Creator. We are connected. So commit now in your heart. And take a deep breath in. Exhale fully. Good. Good. Now bring this back with you as you make your way to the staircase with the 10 steps leading up. Find your way back on the path and bring all of this back with you. All of this commitment. All of this knowing how you matter, how they matter, how connected we are. Bring this back with you to the staircase with the 10 steps leading up. Make your way there now, stepping up 1, slowly, calmly, easily, and gently, returning to your full awareness once again. 2, every muscle, nerve, and fiber in your body feels good. You feel wonderfully good. 3, stepping up, coming back into your body once again. 4, more aware, wiggling your fingers and toes, moving your head from side to side. 5, coming back to the sound of my voice, coming back to me once again. 6, stepping up, feeling more positive. 7, so committed to doing this one thing that you're bringing back with you here tonight. 8, ready to continue on a journey of health, healthy in body, mind, and spirit. 9, ready to open your eyes on the next number I count. And 10, eyes open. Welcome back. Welcome back. I hope that you chose something that means a lot to your heart and something that you will commit to doing. Just one small change. Just one small change. And I would love to hear from you, whatever it is that you decide to do. Send me a text or an email. Message me on Facebook. I'd love to hear from you. So remember, next week, same time, same place. It won't be Memorial Day, so hopefully we'll have a whole crew again. And we'll look at the diseases that affect the brain. Now remember, this will be on my Facebook page, my Heather Sanchez Hypnotherapy page, and I actually have it on YouTube now, so it's a lot easier to find. So, from that point, knowing what the brain does, right, next week, what can affect it, right? What are the diseases that affect the brain? And we'll start diving into the positive things that you can do today to keep your brain healthy. And remember, the steps you take for your brain health have vast other health benefits as well. Your whole body will thank you. And those people who matter so much to you will thank you also. So thanks for joining. I love you both. Troy and Mona, thanks for joining me. And I will, right, wish you love, light, and wonder, because our life should be full of wonder. See you next week.